This is Twit.
Well, Twitter will soon unveil a new music strategy, according to a report in the Wall Street Journal. The company pulled its one-year-old music app from the Apple iTunes App Store less than a week ago. The new strategy won't involve a dedicated app this time, but it will focus on music-centered conversations on Twitter itself and also in the regular Twitter apps. Joining us to explain this move is Ellis Hamburger, a reporter for The Verge. Welcome, Ellis.
Thanks for having me.
Now, first of all, why do you think the standalone app strategy failed so miserably?
I think part of the reason it failed is because it wasn't part of Twitter's main experience, and it also wasn't Twitter's content. I think Twitter is so afraid of the content that their top users are posting. They're posting it elsewhere. They're posting their music on SoundCloud. They're posting their videos on YouTube. And you can watch them within Twitter cards, but Twitter would so much rather them not link out. They want to own this, they want to own the music, and that might start with a SoundCloud partnership. But I think eventually what you might be able to see is 7 out of their 10 most followed people are musicians. What if those people could post their new song directly to Twitter? And you open the tweet, you tap play, and you start listening to it right there. I think that that's the scenario that they're really looking for.
Yeah, they see the Lady Gagas and the Justin Biebers of the world with massive followings and very active on Twitter, and they'd like to get a piece of the money that those artists are making. Well, maybe Lady Gaga might be an artist. Well, it's a matter of opinion. But there's a lot of music activity on Twitter. But as you point out, there's not a lot of buying music activity on Twitter, just a lot of promotion. And that makes a lot of sense. Now, you mentioned one partnership. What are some of the other partnerships that may be involved in this whole deal?
I think all we know right now is that SoundCloud, maybe Beats are involved. And I think what they'll probably entail is a little closer partnership than just a straightforward Twitter card. I think it'll probably be integrated in a better way. And I think that it'll be integrated with some of their favorite artists in a way that feels native to Twitter and doesn't feel just like a card like everybody else has. I think it's really important that Twitter owns the content that its users are producing. And they're really scared of the fact that it's all text. And they want people to post photos so badly. That's what they say in their verified user guidelines. They say, please live tweet things that you're at. Please post photos. Please post selfies. And I think that the photo tagging thing is another example of a feature they rolled out that will raise the quality of the content on Twitter so that it doesn't just last a day. If you go to somebody's profile, like let's say Kim Kardashian, you could see all the photos tagged of her, and you might want to browse through them. Whereas browsing through a list of text tweets isn't that much fun. So I think
in light of that, I think the Mosaic redesign makes sense too, right? The one they've been testing where it's like more like a Facebook type layout and less like a single column. So you think that's another effort to bring people's media content into Twitter?
Definitely. I think the text stream is what we love. And you guys talked a little bit about that. It's so information dense, and you can absorb so much all at once, especially if you're a fast reader like we've all trained ourselves to be. But now that they have photos in the stream, all of a sudden it takes longer to get through your stream. But for some people, if they only follow 50 people, they don't want to have to tap every tweet from a celebrity to see the photo that they post. So I think that for growth, like you were saying, Daryl, growth is so important to them, and they want to make the content as appealing as possible with as few taps as possible.
Now, that's a good way to get around the volume overwhelming problem that's going on then, is what you're saying. Because a lot of people are overwhelmed. They come to it and they go like, what? There's so many, it's so fast. I can't keep up. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I remember when I first joined Twitter back in 2010, it was actually for an English technology and the humanities class I was in, and I did not understand what Twitter was about. It's so valuable to us news people. But I remember somebody told me to follow Scoble back in 2010, and oh my God, I was just, my feed was just saturated with Scoble. And I think that that's one of the problems Twitter has to address, is that a lot of people post more frequently than others, and they're trying to find a way to promote the best content to the most visible place possible. So I really wouldn't be surprised to see Twitter move away from the chronological, always on time model that they really have right now. And I think that will always be an option for people like us. But when you visit your feed and you're an average person, you're missing a lot of stuff. And Twitter doesn't want you to miss all that stuff. They don't want you to miss the best photos, the best videos, and maybe the best songs that the people you follow are posting. And generally, if something's more than a couple hours old, it's gone and you missed it. And I don't think they want that.
That's one of the things I like about Twitter, is that I can go away and then just come in and tap into the current stream. And I'm really interested mainly in what's current. And, Facebook and Google Plus are places where, I have to go back and say, what I miss. And I feel kind of obligated to find out what I missed. But Twitter is great because you can just sort of pay attention when you want and sort of wander away when you want. But speaking of places where users are saturated with Robert Scoble posts, Google Plus has a feature that enables you to embed action items into your, if you're a content seller or something like that, into posts. So, for example, if you're selling music, you can just embed a link directly into the post where you can listen to a sample or buy a song or something like that. It seems to me that Twitter, if they really want to get serious about music, would have to do something like this. Otherwise, it's just more links. Anybody can put links in there. They'd have to build some kind of mechanism if they want to get a micropayment for those music sales or whatever it is their plan is with this music. Do you think they may be headed in that direction, given all the other changes they've made recently?
Oh, yeah, and I wouldn't even be surprised if Twitter started somehow publishing its own breaking news stories, even if they're just bite-sized, because they need to remind people of the utility of what this is. And if the utility to people is going on Twitter, clicking a link, and leaving Twitter, I think that's a problem for them. Yeah,
absolutely. And this is, I don't think Twitter has licensed any catalogs. To the best of my knowledge, they have made no big deals with music companies or labels. So I think at this point, it sounds like they're going to be counting on the big celebrities and singers and also indie bands and so on to post their own music maybe, or do you think they're going to be making music deals?
I think it could be a combination of both, probably music deals first, and then maybe posting their music on Twitter. But I mean, we saw how long it took them to even start their own photo cache. I think it was originally with PhotoBucket. Now they do their own photos. But I think music is going to head in the same direction. They want the content to live on Twitter. And I think most cases, these celebrities, like let's say Kelly Clarkson, her biggest following is probably on Twitter. And SoundCloud is a really important place for a lot of these people, like let's say Snoop, to post their songs. And SoundCloud has its own feature set where you can annotate songs as you go along and you can comment on songs. But I think the average person just wants it as fast as they can get it. They don't care where it is. And Twitter doesn't want you leaving their platform. So why don't they host it? I think that's the direction that we're heading in.
I mean, is that something you think that users will buy into, though? Because we've seen them try to take over the photo relationship, but that hasn't put a damper on Instagram success, for instance, right? Like Instagram still has more users than Twitter does. I think as of the new report this morning.
Twitter. Yeah, Instagram just passed Twitter in their mobile users, right?
Yeah. So, like, do people care? If I know that Twitter wants this, and Twitter wants people to stick around for the content, but is it enough? Will they be able to offer enough to get them to change their habits and not click through to SoundCloud or not keep using SoundCloud? I know they're supposed to be partnering with SoundCloud, but eventually, as you say, the goal is probably to supplant them. But can they offer enough to get people to do it?
I think they will. They just need to keep reminding content creators. Every day they need to remind content creators, hey guys, your biggest following is on Twitter. You want people to have one-tap access to your music, and you could envision a world where you go to somebody's Twitter profile, and Twitter might still be very much about the culture of now, but they still want to index your best photos. They still want to list your songs that you posted to Twitter inside of one concise view. So I think that for a lot of people, they don't care where they find the music. It's like on SoundCloud, you can categorize and make playlists out of all your favorite songs on SoundCloud. But I think that you might have trained yourself to go there simply because that was the music-friendly platform. Mm-hmm. But if you don't need to go to one more place, I don't think that people will.
Well, it all makes me nervous. I'm afraid that in their attempt to become the new Facebook, they may become the new MySpace. And
yeah, I just hope third-party apps stick around, like Tweetbot or something, that will just give me basically Twitter Classic as all these changes come on, because I don't know if I'm just old and curmudgeonly, but none of this sounds good to me. It sounds horrible.
Well, that's another area where they've become less Twitter-like. In the beginning, of course, it was third-party apps that made Twitter what they were. That was one of the great things about Twitter is you could have all these third-party apps, and over the last couple of years, they've been clamping down on those, and who knows, they could increasingly clamp down on third-party apps because they want it all themselves. I just think, they have something unique here, and becoming a second-rate Facebook isn't nearly as great as being the one and only Twitter, and that's the big risk. They're really unique in the industry, and if they fritter away all their uniqueness, then why would anybody go there? I think it's very risky what they're doing. I hope they know what they're doing. I'm not optimistic, actually. So,
it's interesting to see how they've been shifting their priorities and shifting the language that they use in their product. Like you were saying, maybe they're switching the language of retweet to share, and they want to make this more obvious what it is. But how do you guys think they could make Twitter's value proposition more evident to most people? I know I try and explain Twitter to my friends, and I say, guys, this is the news right now. This is the people that you care about, what they're thinking. They might not post it in an article. They might not post it in a song, like, let's say, Vampire Weekend's Ezra Koenig, but you get so much value from following somebody like him on Twitter, and it's not as easy as it could be to explain the value proposition of Twitter. So I think that that's their biggest challenge right now, setting aside content, is to speed up growth, especially as a company that has to deliver growing quarterly earnings. They need to explain to the average person why they need to be on this platform. And I do think that starts with celebrities, even if it's just hashtags and commercials. That's not enough. They need to be saying, here's why you need to follow me on Twitter.
This is precisely one of the mistakes that a lot of content creators make. They have some really hardcore audience that makes them what they are, and then they're all these pretty disinterested, pretty unactive, pretty not really paying attention people that they're trying to go after. And in trying to go after those people, they alienate the really active people who are really using the platform. So again, they don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater here. They want to gain more users. Yeah, that's fine. They want to make more money. Why not? But if they piss off the big users, the big celebrities, the Silicon Valley types, and make them go somewhere else, because you can bet that startups are going to move in to fill in the gaps and provide what Twitter used to provide, and that's the end of that.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Daryl?
App.net just has to come back again.
I do think that's one of the reasons they're keeping TweetDeck, is to appease people like us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ellis, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. Very interesting discussion. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You can find Ellis on TheVerge.com and with the coveted Twitter handle Hamburger. That's not Hamburglar. That's owned by McDonald's, but Hamburger. All right. Well, thanks again.